Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be joining you here today. What I want to do is share some things for modern real estate. I use this channel for the consumer. Anybody can listen and watch and ask questions, but I'm really speaking to the consumer because I care a lot. So today's topic is really for a seller choosing their listing agent in this modern real estate world. And you may think that just certain things have changed or not a lot has changed. I'm going to let you know it is a lot going on. The skills of a real estate agent are very different now, what you need for yourselves as a seller. And a lot of times you wouldn't know it, right? You don't work in our industry. You perhaps respectfully sell a home or your parents' home or something a few times in your lifetime. Every single time, whether it was 10 years ago or 7 years ago, the rules and the laws and the technology and all these things are different. And I feel for you. And as an agent of 22 years, it is the fastest paced, most different than I've experienced in 22 years. So I have a lot of support, care, and feel for both buyers and sellers in the marketplace. So what I want to do with you today is to just give you a little bit of insight into some things you may want your agent to have today, given on the environment that is happening. So I am licensed in the United States. I am a certified international property specialist. However, today I'm just going to speak with you about the United States and selling your property here. You may realize that a lot of different agents have been, I'll respectfully call them old school, right? You walk into my office, you come talk to Bob. Bob's wearing a suit. And our kids know each other, and off we go, and you just signed your paper right here. That's not real estate anymore. A lot of real estate has certainly and absolutely become a very modern, a very technology. Your agent can't just do that very well anymore. Or if they do, they may be missing opportunities for you for finding that great buyer, because a whole lot of our lives are much more technical now, much more relationship based, because we do have technology. So I'll talk about that a little bit. Here's the thing, a modern agent today, absolutely, and I'm sitting in Naples, Florida today. I also go up to Wisconsin, right? And I do referrals all over the United States with my teammates. It is really fast and moving. And so here is the piece. I have to not only know the legalities of the different locations, I need to understand the different contract forms used sometimes per county or per MLS. I have to know if any of those forms have changed for whatever reason or wording from the last time I used them, right? I also need to be able to market, not from putting something in a printed book and hoping you come into my office to look at it. I have to be able to be decent on social media. And a lot of people will say, oh gosh, my agent is not going to be social media. She doesn't show her face, or he doesn't show his face. You just most likely can't get by with that much anymore, unless you just are going to take a shot with a Zillow agent of whatever ends up happening. And no disrespect to Zillow agents, great. This is the piece. When you are going to hire, who's going to come market your home for you in the best light and the best regard that they possibly could? These are all the well-rounded pieces you want for your agent. I want an agent that you get a choice as the consumer to have a full box of Crayola crayons, right? You may want the magenta because that works for you. You may want beige because that's better for you. You may want cyan because that's the one that I want you to have all these different choices. But what you need to understand that most people don't talk to you about is, Sherry, tell me, what do I really need to be looking for in this agent? Because I don't know how that agent behaves out in the public, out in the wild, in professionalism and all that kind of stuff. So those are some pieces that I'm going to share with you today. Again, today, your agent has to be able to not just put something on social media, but they have to be engaging. The type of engaging can be different, right? Some are going to be incredibly professional, very serious the whole time. The funny part is I can certainly absolutely be that. I'm much more relatable, professional when I'm long form talking here with you than if you see a 7-second trending audio like I did this morning. But here's what's happening, even if you are in Naples, Florida. So Naples, Florida tends to have a reputation, right, of a little bit older demographic, a little bit more, some of them very buttoned up and whatever. They still, as a seller, would prefer and like and ask and engage in agents that have the ability to be engaging, fun, or funny on video, even for a very serious house. And maybe it's toned down a little bit, because here's why. If your agent can't engage on video, on social media, on multiple platforms, you have a much less opportunity of somebody engaging with your property. You might think, oh, I don't necessarily need that. But when we are doing two things, we have technology happening so fast, and I'll talk about AI in a little bit. And we also have human beings who are going to buy the house, not bots and not, whatever. We have to be able to have a balance between those two pieces. So they may say something just a little bit fun, funny, nice vibe, not too serious about your house in a short 7-second video. And then you may have another beautiful little longer form of showing bits and pieces. That agent also is not going to be talking about, oh, here's the living room. They're going to be talking about a gathering space. Here's where we feel the relaxed portion of the home. They're not going to be talking about, this is the kitchen, this is the bathroom. A lot of those pieces are changing, and they're changing to be relatable to a wide audience of the marketplace that perhaps is going to purchase your home. So one of the first things I would ask you is, you may not think about it, but you go, I want to see an agent that she behaves exactly the same as I see her, beautifully and professionally and with a huge heart and a strong attitude and a nice brain. And I want to see her that way always on social media. That may not be the case. As in myself, I can be fun, funny, engaging, because you have to be able to do the trending videos. And then when you see me in person and I'm interacting and I'm taking phone calls for you and I'm scheduling people to actually come out and make sure they can get through the security gates or to that referral source I gave them in another state, those skills are going to come off looking a little bit different, and some of them will be on social media. That makes sense. Here's why. They have to be able to be engaging, whether that be on a short form video or in person. When you walk up to meet me or greet me at a home, or I'm meeting you to see should we work together as a buyer, you're going to know I'm thrilled to see you. I'm highly personable. I enjoy the opportunity to be able to serve. I don't act like an aggressive salesperson. It's not my style. I'm here to serve, and I take it very seriously, and I enjoy it an awful lot, and I want to do a good job. So you need those short little videos that are fun and engaging to then counter the longer information about the community or something that maybe they didn't need to think about, or for your international people coming into this very high price point, let's say, because those get less views. The serious, the professional, the nice, they get less views. And so you have to balance out them. Oh, I'm watching her and I know that agent, and so then I'm going to call her about the house, right? That's the way a lot of our pieces are moving. Agents are having to manage both the social media part, the technology part, the complex part of laws and pieces changing. So all of this in different venues within real estate of, okay, this law just changed for us. Okay, this form just changed for us. Okay, now you can't do this. Now you can do this. I am in multiple states where one state's very strong in buyer agency. Wisconsin's been that way forever. Florida's not used to it. We need to make sure on the behalf of the seller that we are doing the right good job for you, that you don't end up getting sued because of something I did, right? That would be fair and good. These pieces all matter in whatever we're happening to be doing. And we want to make sure that we are meeting that human being that's showing up, right? Because humans are dealing with so much technology now, so much. Number one question in purchasing real estate for that buyer that we'd like to bring you, seller, is who can I trust? That's true in the United States. That's true globally. It's true locally. It's true up there and in that state. Who can I trust? So the trust factor is a great element of who would I really like my listing agent to be, so that I know the people that they are engaging, interacting, bringing into my home feel like that person is doing a professional, sincere, honest job, which you would expect. The other pieces of that listing agent you're going to hire is this. We get the keys to your home. That is one of the most trusted things, particularly if your personal items are in there as well, that you want to know. I certainly am never going to put you in a position that I don't know who's in your home or what they're doing, right? Any seller should expect that. And yet sometimes, depending on who you're hiring, it is, oh, that's not a big deal. Yep, go ahead. I'm going to approve that showing, but I don't really know if you're pre-approved or whatever is the situation. That should never happen. There should be security pieces in line, as I talked about with you last week, of who actually is showing up for that showing. It needs to be who did the showing line request or the request to the agent, and not pinch hitting or switching somebody, and especially somebody without a license that's coming into your home. All of these kind of pieces matter. Another spot for who do I want my listing agent to be are things like this. They need to be soft enough and strong enough to handle the backside of your business, meaning that we are going to and want to have all kinds of different agents that will cooperate, that will come show your home to customers or clients. We want to be able to do that. One of our other important jobs, now that the real estate industry has changed so much, is what is actually the real dynamic, meaning that that buyer is coming to me at an open house. I'm not going to force them to sign something in an open house like a lot of brokerages do. My job is to sell your home for you. I want them to be comfortable in your home. I don't want them to feel like I am pushing them on, gosh, if you don't like this, I want you signed with me so I can take you down the block because this is my store that my seller is letting me have an open house at. I mean, if you want that, it's up to you. For myself, I want to know my agent, listing agent, is there first and foremost and always to sell my home in the best capacity that they can. Here are pieces. So we'll have buyers come now who will say, oh, I'm working with an agent. They may or may not be. Then they will really be with an agent and they'll tell us, no, they're not. Your listing agent needs to be poised and professional and skilled at being able to make sure they are encouraging any buyer that could come forward, but also that within the community of real estate and the real estate professionals, that they're really awesome at working with other agents. I pride myself on that and enjoy it a lot. I'm originally from the Midwest, right? We will call somebody when they set up a showing. Thank you for showing. I want to make sure you've got everything you need. Do you need anything in terms of questions? When I'm in Florida, I'm calling the agent because each development is different and we can't know every little nuance about it. In this particular case I've recently had where this person for 4 months kept coming back and whatever, and I'm happy to work with you, but said they had an agent. And, I circled back to that agent once the agent presented and said, I just want to let you know we're respecting that you're under contract with that person. If you should want to bring forward an offer or a contract, that's exactly what we want to do, instead of trying to circumvent and go, well, I've done all the work with this buyer. They didn't bring their agent. I just want to make sure I get paid more or properly. My job within the real estate community is to maintain reputation, to make sure that I am treating other professionals in a good, right manner. Any seller would want their agent to be stellar with other professionals. That's just hugely important. Whether that agent is with my brokerage or a different brokerage, it does not matter at all. We want to be able to get the home sold for you. You would expect me to behave that way. A good way to kind of think about it, as you being the listing agent, right, is not saying or doing anything you wouldn't if the seller was standing right next to you. Certainly not ever in their home doing or saying or behaving in a way in their home that you wouldn't if they were right there with you. These are minimal expectations, right? We want to also take a look at, do you realize that your agent needs to be engaging, as I said? So some of it will be engaging on social media. Some of it will be engaging in person, because they have to be able to make the person feel comfortable. I personally will go on a limb and say, I think like the old style script and da-da-da, and I got to just stay on the buyer till they die or buy. None of that was ever me. I am much more sincere in the situation. If the buyer is right and good for it, fabulous. We're happy to work with you. If it's not and you want me to, after the fact, help you with something else, I'm very happy to do that. But a lot of it is you being able to be engaging. And so, when you're in the public, it feels gross when somebody, a listing agent, is over aggressive to you, constantly trying to get your contact information, calling you every other day of what are you doing? We really want you to write an offer here. That listing agent shouldn't have themselves and they're getting a sale in their mind above anybody else, certainly the seller, and in this case, working with buyers, right? And so how are you going to know that? Some of it is going to be you being able to see, how do they behave with you at the listing appointment, right? Do they seem very wrote? Are they really aggressive? Do you like that? I mean, if you want a really aggressive agent, okay. These days, a lot of people, they want them skilled more than aggressive. That's up to you. But you're looking at how they treat me is most likely in their best behavior, the best behavior, right? They may be a little bit less than that when they're with somebody else. We would not like them to be. But when you kind of think about that as a seller, if this is their very best behavior they're going to have, how do I feel in their presence? How do I feel with their sincerity, authenticity, any of the things that are important to you about how you want to do your sale? These are the pieces of, again, they have to be strong enough and soft enough to handle and engage with the public, which it's a big job engaging with the public. Part of the joke is just I engage with the public every day. You never know what you're going to get. Some of that is fun. Some of that is not fun. Lots of us have been doing it for a long time, so we're used to it, and kind of what we need to do and nuances and things like that. But your agent needs to be soft enough to be able to engage and support and have empathy, depending on what is the situation, whether the buyer needs to make a housing change because of a medical situation or a family dynamic or something like that. To the strong enough of, this is what we're willing to do, or this is what the seller's communicating the terms are. If we're able to do that, that's fantastic. If not, we wish you well, right? Or we're not going to be doing this type of behavior here. That's our job. If the seller asks us that they would like us to be present in the home, two things happen, right? That buyer doesn't love it. I, as a buyer agent on this regards, don't love it because it makes it awkward and uncomfortable. It makes us feel like we can't have a sincere appointment, that I can't have an honest, real conversation with my buyers, although we understand you may always have cameras in your home or audio in your home. And on the listing agent side, I understand if we've been asked, particularly on a certain price point, let's say, that we have to be present for our seller on all properties. I do understand that. I am just much more polite and engaging and supporting to that. Some listing agents show up and they want to run the show. That's old school. That is old school. I don't need you to be doing that when I'm on the buyer side representing. You can be polite, you can be there. Some agents are really fantastic at it, of supporting, being available, oh, did you know, not completely eavesdropping, but being available. That stuff's fantastic. Or if you've talked to the buyer agent ahead of time and said, I'm happy to do the showing. I used to do that all the time when I did new construction. So I would say to them, I know absolutely everything about this builder. I know every little custom piece. I know all of our contracts. Would you like me to do the pony show for you that you get to relax and I'll make you look good? Or would you like to do this yourself? They would tell me which way would they like it to go. And then that's the way I'm responding as a listing agent as best I can, given who the seller is. The backside skills. Sometimes right now, the backside skills need to be just as good or even better than their front side skills as a listing agent. What do I mean by that? There are people in different situations where they may need more help from the listing agent, meaning they're not quite ready. They need help prepping the home. They need some vendors. Maybe it's an emotional situation about how you're coming out of the house. And so they need a little bit more support, and that's time consuming. I have done that for 22 years. I have done lots of different houses that some are smooth and easy, ready to go. Others are, we've worked for months ahead of time to get everything in line. I'm the one who back in the day would grab the laundry and the dogs and even sometimes a baby if the mom had to go get the kids at school for a showing that I had or whatever. The backside skills of your agent, sometimes, whether that be in supporting you through the process, whether the backside be those pieces of their skills, organization, dynamics of supporting all the other pieces, or perhaps there's two people coming out of this house that are not necessarily getting along. What are those dynamics you need in the backside of this agent are good things for you to think about when you're hiring that agent. I am broker agnostic. That's a weird combination, broker agnostic. So what does that mean, Sherry? I am broker agnostic, and I always have been. I do have a broker, right? I go through eXp Realty. However, I have always behaved, even when I was an independent broker for 17 years, agnostic as to who I'm working with. So I am so happy to have any brokerage. Some brokerages behave like they're not supposed to, but we want our agents selling our listings, and that's a business decision. It's not supposed to be, right? The seller has decisions that they get to make about that. I'm happy to just have the sale for my seller. That's where I'm supposed to be. So I do not care if you are from XYZ, KDY, yellow, orange and blue brokerage. I'm happy to have you. I'm going to treat you just as professionally. We're going to work just as well. I don't care if you are an independent, if you are a discount brokerage, if you are does not matter. My responsibility is to treat you in the transaction the same as I would anybody. And the word broker agnostic is good for sellers and for buyers to start hearing and understanding, because we don't want you in a position, consumer, where you're being damaged because of certain business models that aren't your decision in terms of getting your home sold in the best manner for yourself. So again, that's the important part of broker agnostic, and that's good for you. You know, we want any good offer for you and any good situation. So why I am doing these weekly broadcasts for the consumer is because here's a piece of what's happening also in our modern real estate world that is just, it doesn't feel nice to me. I feel concerned about it. I have a lot of passion about not doing it. And this is what this is. I don't feel like the consumer should have to feel more confused about noise and fighting happening in the real estate industry, particularly with brokerages to each other, counterparts between, NAR and this and that and whatever. What we were supposed to be doing in the last year was making things more clear, easier, better disclosures to the consumer, to the public, so that they can make their decisions, so that they understand what is happening. I think an unintended consequence that is happening in the shift outs and in business models changing in real estate is more confusion for consumers, unfortunately, and then also different agents or brokerages, depending on whatever, further confusing by explanations or pieces like that. Some of it's going to happen because we do each have a different attitude or, way we might do business. But in general, just being an educator, which I also am an adult master educator, the general public should understand What is happening? What is why? Okay, here is B. Now, what do you want to do? And that consumer gets to make the decision. You should be able to ask agents whether they are from whatever state. Now there's nuances, but whatever state, just a basic real estate question, and they can answer it to you, not salesy, not because I'm trying to get a deal from you, not because, oh gosh, I want you to come to me so then I get to refer you to wherever. If you should decide to later, great. But there needs to be enough of us agents that are willing to be out here educating, sharing new pieces for you, the consumer, to be looking at and make your decisions. And so today, the biggest thing I want you to understand is that a modern real estate agent is just like back in the day we used to call, child actor, dancer, whatever, singer, in terms of a triple threat. Your real estate agent is kind of that in a different field now, because we need to be able to not only understand the legal portion of the contract, be really amazing with the way things are moving for consumers, do nanosecond videos, long form videos, be engaging at the property, have really great, strong skills if there's conflicts. Those negotiating skills are different. And here's where I'll end. This is a piece that's important. I understand AI is hugely being pushed. I understand even my own brokerage is a very big tech company, right? There are pieces that will be okay. There are other pieces I would certainly want sellers and even buyers to understand today. A little bit of that's okay. And part of it right now today is blowing deals for you. There's lots of people right now who just love these animated bots and let's do that and animated calls. I'll also tell you that's what's blowing deals for you. Somebody got a call back from an animated bot or dialer that was not, and you just lost your buyer. It just is, because there are certain people who those dialers are doing terrible. They're trying to talk to it. They may be older and not understand that's a bot and not really Becky. And that all that stuff gives them a poor impression. I do not mean that we should not be using it, but I hugely mean I will certainly be an agent where my differentiation is going to be my human self. It's going to be the real me. It's going to be that I'm actually talking to you so you know you can trust me. I'm the one that's going to be calling you and having these conversations. I'm the one that's going to be making sure that you're comfortable at the property, and I, or one of my real human being teammates, is going to be the one carefully, because I help select them with you, taking care. And so I think those are the pieces that are just a little bit of this modern part of it's not as easy as it looks. I can tell you at 22 years into it, it's the most challenging I've been in. And at the same time, it's super important. I want to be here. I want to be able to be giving help and guidance, for a lot of it free, and for other parts available for hire and sale in right good situations. And so I appreciate you showing up to listen to some of this. If you have questions, you certainly are willing and able to contact me. I'm happy to help you with anything that I can. Have an awesome day.